Welcome to the Imagination Station, kids. My name is Vanessa Shields and I'm a poet. Today we're going to talk about poetry in your imagination. Yay! Ooh. So, I'm a poet and I write poetry and I love poetry. Do you want to know why? Because poetry is powerful and original and extraordinary, totally awesome, really fun, and it's your imagination's fun house. Today I'm going to share with you some of my favorite poems from some of my favorite poets for kids. And they love to use their imagination, and I hope that you'll use your imagination too when you write some poetry with me. The first poet that I would love to share with you, his name is Shel Silverstein. And this is one of his books called Where the Sidewalk Ends. And this is what he looks like. Ooh, kind of scary, but he's really super nice. What I love about Shel Silverstein is his crazy, fun, wild imagination. He uses his imagination to come up with funny rhymes, and he writes about all sorts of wild and cool things. For example, has anyone ever picked their nose? I know I have. He's got a great poem called Warning. Can you see it right there? Warning. Here's how it goes. Inside everybody's nose, there lives a sharp-toothed snail. So if you stick your finger in, he may bite off your nail. Stick it further up inside, and he may bite your ring off. Stick it all the way, and he may bite the whole darn thing off. Whoa! So that's Shel Silverstein thinking about some of the common things that people do every day, like pick their nose. And he wrote a really fun poem about it. And he also uses rhymes in his poem. Oh, another poem that Shel Silverstein wrote is called Lazy Jane. And he, in this poem, uses the white space on the page to make the poem look really cool. This poem's called Lazy Jane. Lazy, 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 lazy Jane. She wants a drink of water. So she waits and waits and waits and waits and waits and waits and waits for it to rain. Lazy Jane is so lazy that she doesn't even get up to get herself a glass of water. She lays on the ground and opens her mouth and waits for the rain. So you can also see something really fun that he's doing in this poem, and that is he's using repetition. That means he's repeating words over and over and over again, like lazy, lazy, lazy. And also, she waits and waits and waits. It's really fun to use your words over and over and over in poetry. It's fun for how it sounds, it's fun for how it feels in your mouth, and it looks really cool on the page. The last poem I'm going to show you by our good friend Shel Silverstein is called a concrete poem. And that's the kind of poem that looks cool because of the shape that it's in, and the shape that the words go in are part of the description of the poem. So this poem is a long giraffe's neck. But instead of there being actual pictures of the kind of polka dot skin that is a giraffe, he actually uses words so it looks just like a giraffe's neck. Here's the poem. Please do not make fun of me and please don't laugh. It isn't easy to write a poem on the neck of a running giraffe. So Shel Silverstein's imagination got wild and wacky, and he actually wrote a poem in the shape of the animal that he was writing about. Fantastic. All right, kids, let's get back to our imagination. Think about what imagination means to you. What do you think imagination means? So awesome. And where do you think your imagination lives in your body? Does it live in your head? Does it live in your nose? Does it live in your elbow? Does it live in your toes? Think about imagination and where it lives in your body and how it feels when you use it. If you want to write great poetry, open the doors to your imagination room and see what fun stuff is inside. The next poet who I'd like to talk to you about, his name is Dr. Seuss. Yay, Dr. Seuss. I'm pretty sure most of us have heard of Dr. Seuss. What I love about Dr. Seuss, besides his wild and wacky ideas, is the fact that he makes up words. You definitely need your imagination to make up words. For example, in this book called ABCs, Dr. Seuss is going through each letter of the alphabet and writing cute, fun poems for each letter. He's also making up characters and words and names for these characters. For example, big F, little f, what begins with F? 4 fluffy feathers on a fiffer, feffer, feff. There's a fiffer, feffer, feff. Have you ever seen one of those? Nope. But if you use your imagination, there you go. You get to see what a fiffer, feffer, feff looks like. So, if we'd like to learn from Dr. Seuss, in this book, we can also see what else he does with his poems. He's also got repetition as well. Big H, little h, what begins with H? Big I, little I, what begins with I? Big J, little j, what begins with J? Every beginning for each letter has the same sentence. And then he goes and writes something silly and goofy to match that letter. Big J, little j, what begins with J? Jerry Jordan's jelly jar, J, J, J. Dr. Seuss is also really great at putting fun words together that feel great in your mouth. Like it's really fun to say, Jerry Jordan's jelly jar. Can you say that? Jerry Jordan's jelly jar. Yay! It feels so good in our mouth. So does jelly and peanut butter. So Dr. Seuss, he's a really, really great, wonderful poet because like Shel Silverstein, he uses repetition and rhyming and really fun words for your mouth and your ears to hear, but he also makes up names and characters, which is super fun. And you definitely need your imagination to do that. So, kids, if you want right now, take some time to make up your own character. Just put weird and wacky sounds together and see what you can come up with. Enter the rooms in your imagination and see if you can make up a wild and wacky word that you can put into a poem, just like Fiffer, Feffer, Feff. Think about your favorite letter in the alphabet. Is it D? Maybe it's P? How about, Z? Z's a really great letter. Think about your favorite letter in the alphabet and jump into your imagination and see what wild and wacky word you can come up with. What letter would you like me to choose? Okay, you want me to choose the letter T? Excellent. I'm going to write a big fat T on my piece of paper, and I'm just going to dive into my imagination and see what word I can make up with a T. How about T, R, U, L, Z, E, E. Trollsy. What the heck is a trollsy? I don't know. If you could draw a trollsy, what do you think a trollsy would look like? I think a trollsy would have 3 legs with 3 knees with big squares as its feet, a roly-poly belly, a big nose, and a big smile. There's my trollsy! Yay! Yay for using your imagination. All right, kids, what else can we talk about? Think about all the things in your world that you love. Do you love dinosaurs? Why not think about writing a poem about dinosaurs? Here's one called The Durable Dino. There once was a strong T-Rex with giant muscles that he'd flex. On his way to the gym, people stared at him and he'd yell, "Who doesn't love my pecs?" Think about lots of things in your world. How about clothes? How do you feel about your clothes? Would you like to make up a whole new kind of clothes for your Trollsy or new character that you created? Dr. Seuss wrote a book about a pair of pants that were all alone and scared. Look at that. Using your imagination, you can come up with any cool, wacky, wild, and fun ideas for anything that's around you in your world, even things like your clothes. What about breakfast? Who doesn't love green eggs and ham? Think about all the things that are around you. That's what you can use to write poetry about. Of course, you have to enter the world and rooms of your imagination to learn how to write fun poetry. I'll share another poem with you. This is from a book that I wrote called From A to Ziffery Zanks. And it's a book that follows the alphabet as well, just like Dr. Seuss's alphabet. And I've made up some wild and wacky characters. This one is for the letter V. Vorfin counted cracks in the walls of every room he entered. It helped him with his fear of corners and kept him very centered. Until that time he entered a room that was circular in shape. It had no cracks, no corners, no doors. He's still trying to escape. This is a type of poem that's called a clarihue, and it's got 4 lines and it rhymes, and the first line introduces a character. Here's another one. This one's also about nose picking. I think picking your nose is a really cool subject to write about. This one is for the letter M. Mr. Moogle was a grumpy lot who sat on his porch and ate his snot. No one knew what caused his grump, so they left him there in a snotty lump. Yay! For poetry that's rhyming and fun! Woohoo! All right, kids. I hope you enjoyed this stop at the Imagination Station for poetry, and I hope that you write wonderful, wild, and wacky fun poetry using your imagination. My name's Vanessa Shields. I hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to read, write, and have lots of fun in your imagination. Bye!